Wednesday provided some crazy weather, but it is Friday, and we are back, rocking and rolling here with you, giving you the number one form, hottest show on the streets for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Very excited to have everybody tuned in on a Friday TGIF edition of the show. Spring football in day one of spring football for your Crimson Tide. And for those of you that did an NCAA tournament bracket, we are all frowning at Ohio State, which has busted everybody's bracket right now, including mine. And also for Tennessee Volunteers, I picked Tennessee to win, its first matchup, but unfortunately, Oregon State had to make me cry. So far, my quest to the NCAA tournament bracket ordeal not going as well as planned, but what is going well is being able to talk to you, the passionate Alabama football fans, and discussing spring football and all things Crimson Tide. We're bringing you the show from the Magic City of Birmingham, streaming to you the show on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, drop a thumbs up, give a like on the show, like the show, hit that subscribe button. Turn those notifications on so that way you can have all the news, notes, alerts, and coverage on your favorite program. Not only are we streaming this to you through YouTube, but we got you covered also Facebook and Twitter as well. All forms of social media have you hooked, line, and sinkered onto the number one form for Bama football, that being in my own words. Show presented by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That is WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. If you haven't done so, go ahead and copy you that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, showing that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, and the student athletes in the tradition, the pageantry of owning and or dominating the fourth quarter. Check them out right now. WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Got a great guest that will join us later on in the show. Former Alabama safety Ali Sharif, who played from 2005 to 2009, big part of that 09 SEC and national championship team. He is excited. He's been waiting to come on. He's got some thoughts on Pete Golding, some thoughts on this defense, some thoughts on spring football. Ali's got some thoughts on a lot of things, so going to be awesome to have Sharif on the show later on here in the program. But we want to hear from you today, the passionate Alabama football fan base. 205-448-1358. That is the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you. That daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat goal. You guys have been on the money, helping us out, showing the love, the passion, the support here. The TDA. So $75 daily super chat go. And we already getting started with Spencer Revley and Willie Beeman. Spencer Revley, that $5 donation, dropping the love and the TDA hat. And how about Willie Beeman, that $20 donation coming from him. So we're getting started early today with Spencer Revley and Willie Beeman. But before we jump into the first topic of conversation here, a little bit of an update as we've got the NFL free agency going on right now. Former Alabama players on the move during this free agency period. We've talked about Cam Robinson and Mark Ingram signing deals. Cam Robinson sticking with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mark Ingram moving from the Ravens to the Houston Texans. Kenyon Drake no longer with the Arizona Cardinals. He is now with the Las Vegas Raiders, teaming up with Henry Ruggs III and Josh Jacobs. Robert Foster is now with the Miami Dolphins, hooking up with one Tua Tagovailoa. Levi Wallace remains with the Buffalo Bills. Tony Brown remains with the Cincinnati Bengals. Dalvin Tomlinson has signed the new deal for the Minnesota Vikings, leaving the New York Giants. Reggie Ragland has now signed a one-year deal with the New York Giants, leaving the Detroit Lions. So a bunch of former Alabama players, they're moving around, bunch of moving pieces going back and forth as we're in the NFL free agency period where contracts are made, deals are done, people are being cut or released. So much stuff is happening now prior to the draft, which takes place in late April. But we now get into topic number one here of the conversation. With spring ball kicking up today, the 15 sessions of practice started today, and it will go until the A-Day game, which is Saturday, April 17th. At Bryant-Denny Stadium, 12 p.m. Central Time kickoff. ESPN will have the call on the matchup. But the 15-day session starts today. Coach Saban is about to speak here in a moment, if he hasn't already started speaking, in his presser after the first day of spring ball here. And this is the moment that U.S. fans have been excited for. You got a chance to watch Alabama in the fall go through the conference-only SEC schedule in the midst of a global coronavirus pandemic. You saw your Crimson Tide beat Georgia, beat LSU, beat Auburn, beat Florida, beat everybody on the schedule, and then go to the college football playoff, take care of Notre Dame and Ohio State to capture a national championship. So the excitement has been, what will Alabama look like in the spring of 2021? I know Coach Saban has restructured the coaching staff once again. I know Alabama losing pieces to the NFL draft, but returning pieces on both sides of the football. What can Alabama look like? What should we expect the Crimson Tide to look like here in spring ball? So right now, I'm going to get into my top five positional battles that are opening spring ball. Top five battles, top five races, top five major situations for the Crimson Tide as spring ball opened on today. And first and foremost, it's the quarterback room, right? Quarterback race is the number one race happening in spring football. This is the one that everybody has their eyes glued to. At this point now, this is where we start to open up the conversation where Nick Saban always likes to say, who takes the bull by the horns? who wins the team, who goes out here each and every day consistently winning over the teammates with production, with leadership, with big plays, with strong plays. And you got three guys here in Bryce Young, Paul Tyson, and Jalen Milroe that each bring something different to the table. All three guys had a strong fourth quarter off-season workout program, but now in spring, who separates themselves? Who is able to present itself as, I'm the leader for the team. I'm what the team needs. I'm what the team needs to have to get from point A to point B in terms of taking this group and leading it to a national championship in the coming fall here. When you look at Bryce Young, first and foremost, we know what he can bring to the table. He's got the athleticism. He's got the arm talent. He can work off script. He can make a lot of magic plays, a lot of wow plays. We had Coach Keith Miller on this show out of California, who does the showcase camp, scouted out Bryce Young in the 8th grade, and Keith Miller came on the show. He brought the heat. He brought the fire. He talked about it. Bryce Young, Russell Wilson on steroids. Bryce Young can do some Johnny Manziel things. Bryce Young is going to bring Alabama conference championships, national championships, at least one Heisman Trophy during his tenure. Coach Miller even said it. If I'm offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien, I take a seat, I put the ego to the side, I let Bryce Young run the whole offense, I let Bryce Young do his thing. That came from one Keith Miller, Coach Keith Miller. Bryce Young brings it out to the table. When you look at Paul Tyson, you've got the size factor there at 6'5", 230 pounds plus. He's got big knowledge of the system entering his third year. He's got a big arm. He's got the accuracy. He's got the velocity. He's got the arm talent. The footwork is greatly improved, and he's on a mission to show people Paul Bear Bryant, yes, great-grandfather, but the volume of which I play the game is a big deal, and it needs to be taken seriously. And then you got Jalen Milroe, who had an outstanding fourth quarter program, him coming from Texas. Can he be the second guy from Texas joining one Jalen Hurts that says, hey, my time is now? People may feel like I need to wait a little bit, I need to learn a little bit more, but I got the tools to make my time be right now. So number one battle right now, the quarterback room. Who takes the bull by the horns? This is interesting as it starts off on today. Going on now to the second intriguing battle here in spring ball for the Crimson Tide, the offensive line. And I've spoken on this before. Alabama graduating Landon Dickerson, Deontay Brown, and Alex Leatherwood off to the NFL draft. But it brings back three guys that have experience: Chris Owens, Emil Ekiyor, and Evan Neal. The question will be is who picks up the spots at left guard and right tackle. Now, to start today, what I was told from close sources leading up to this moment was Tommy Brown would start there at that left guard spot to open spring ball, and at right tackle therein lies Kendall Randolph. The question is, can these two hold those spots? Because this offensive line is trying to defend its crown as the Joe Moore Award-winning group. The 2020 group won the Joe Moore Award, but now 2020 is done. The focus is on this group, this 2021 unit. Can the likes of Ekiyor, Neal, Chris Owens, and the rest of this gang defend that title, defend that standard of being the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line? At left guard, Tommy Brown, you got to fend off a Pierce Quick. You got to fend off a Tanner Bowles, among other players. At right tackle, Kendall Randolph, he's got leadership right there, but you got to fend off a Tommy Brockermeyer. You got to fend off a J.C. Latham. You got to fend off a Terrence Ferguson II, who is probably one of the more versatile offensive linemen Bama signed in this class. In the 2021 group, you got to fend off a Javion Cohan, who is a dog. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a Landon Dickerson type. You also have to fend off a Damian George as well. when you look at Chris Owens, he's got a lot of ability at that center position, but at the same time, he's got to fend off a Darian Dalcourt, who's a naturally born center. Kind of reminds me of an Antoine Caldwell, if you will. He also has to fend off a James Brockermeyer, part of that Brockermeyer duo, along with his brother Tommy. Their father, Blake Brockermeyer, played in college ball, big college ball at the University of Texas, played in the NFL. And if there's any duo that has the traits and has the technique to be strong offensive linemen, it would be the Brockermeyer boys. But the offensive line, second major position battle there. You move on now to defense, and the big position battle on defense is at defensive tackle. Who comes out between DJ Dale and Tim Smith at that nose guard, nose tackle position? This is going to be a war right here. DJ Dale has put in some work here and a lot of work in the offseason program, but the reason why he's putting in that work, he knows Tim Smith is on his butt and Smith ain't playing. This is baby Quinnen Williams mixed with Christian Barmore. Smith had an awesome fourth quarter offseason program this past season. The young man from Sebastian River High School down there in Florida, he put up he had some big moments as a freshman in 2020, and he looks to be even bigger in the upcoming fall. Starting off, though, in spring practice. Who wins this job? Who takes this spot at nose guard between Tim Smith and DJ Dale? Big question right there, and the reason why the nose tackle position sets the tone. It's got to be dominant. It's got to demand a double team. It's got to wreak havoc, because when that spot wreaks havoc, it allows defensive ends to make plays. It allows inside and outside linebackers to make plays. So this nose tackle spot between DJ Dale and Tim Smith going to be a big opportunity right there, especially when you look at guys that have played that spot in the past who have been tremendous, whether that's been Deron Payne, whether it's been Quinnen Williams, along with other names, but whomever has played that spot in recent years under Coach Saban. When Bama has had a guy that wreaks havoc, that means business, that demands a double team at that spot, everybody else around that group or around that position has been spectacular. So DJ Dale, Tim Smith, that's a battle right there at nose tackle. Moving on now to the middle linebacker position. There is a race at the Mike linebacker spot. Jalen Moody will get the first crack at it, come into his senior year at 6'2", 225 pounds. But will it be Jalen Moody to hold that spot, or will the field be able to overtake him? And by the field, I'm referring to Shane Lee, Jackson Bratton, Deontay Lawson, and Ian Jackson. Shane Lee, can he finally reemerge? We have been wondering what's going on with Shane Lee. Had a strong freshman year. Sophomore year took a back seat. Has he gotten faster? Has he gotten quicker? Has he gotten better with the footwork? Has he dropped a couple more pounds? What's going on with Shane Lee, and can he resurge is a big question here. But behind him, you got a Jackson Bratton, who's been groomed for this position, a Deontay Lawson, who's been groomed for this spot, and an Ian Jackson as well. But Jalen Moody will get the first crack here at the spot at the middle Mike linebacker position to call the defense, to run the defense. That's a position battle. Going on now to the last spot here is at that defensive secondary. And the big question in the defensive secondary, can Alabama get the best 5 to 6 guys on the field as consistent starters? Bama, Nick Saban has brought in so much talent in that defensive back room since 2017. We kind of forget at times who's on the roster. You got a Malachi Moore back. You got a Jordan Battle back. But among the other guys here fighting for these other spots, whether it be at corner, whether it be at dime, whether it be at safety, can Alabama get the best 5 to 6 guys in that starting rotation on the field? That's going to be the big question. But that defensive secondary, another positional battle to keep your eyes on here as we open spring football. It opened up today. We take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started. Continue to hit that thumbs up. Give us a like on the show. Hit that subscribe button as we're giving you Bama football. Upon our return, we get into your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your interactions right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back in, folks, from the break on a Friday. TGIF edition of the show. Number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Spring ball kicked off today at the University of Alabama for the Crimson Tide. Coach Saban having his press conference after the first day of practice. The first segment got a chance to run through my top 5 positional battles for the Crimson Tide football program as spring ball is open. But we're back in from the break, and we're getting into the call segment, taking your calls, 205-448-1358. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you as you're getting your thoughts in. We got a few super chats to get to. How about the pimp of the Blue Wrench Gang, baby? Senator Hines dropping in that $49.99. Appreciate that love from Senator. Coming up in here, dropping the love in the TDA hat. How about T-Mark? T-Mark dropping in that 99 cents into the hat here, helping us out here on the super chats. Appreciate T-Mark. And then Willie351, that's 777 coming in smoothly. And that TDA donations there. Appreciate all of you guys helping us out here on the show. And with that being said, how about that super chat goal has been reached? That $75 super chat goal in the bag has been reached. Appreciate all the love, all the joy, the support that you guys have shown as the passionate fans of Alabama football, making this your show in my own words. We take our first call of the evening. You are live on the show. What's going on tonight?
Hello?
You're live. What's going on, caller?
Oh, how are you? Just calling. I got a question about the spring ball. Did Coach Saban say anything about whether if Paul was going to be able to get into the quarterback race or not?
Well, I know Saban didn't say anything about that. I know usually when Saban talks on the first day, he's looking at evaluating the players and just happy to be back out there, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to see which player steps up, takes that reign, and wins that team over. So usually on the first day of spring practice, that's what he talks about. I know our own Patrick Dowd actually was in on the Nick Saban Zoom call following practice. So I will get that question, my man, to Patrick Dowd. He was in on the call, and I will definitely get that answer from him.
Is Paul going to start?
Is Paul going to start? He has a shot too, and he's pushing to do that. He's on a mission. He is on a mission to start, and like I said, spring ball has happened, so this is going to be fun to watch, man. We appreciate that call. Paul Tyson is on a mission, though. He's on a mission to get that job, to win that job. Spring ball has started. We shall see. Saban spoke today, but definitely we'll get with my man Patrick Dowd to get to that press conference there. But we take our next call of the evening. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on, Stephen A? It's your boy, Senator Hines. What's good, man?
Doing well, man. Doing well. First day of spring ball. Coach Saban and the guys back out there on the field. Once again, I wasn't able to get into the Saban press conference tonight, but I know a couple of our other guys for TDA were able to. So upon talking to them, I will gather the news, notes, and nuggets that Saban dropped out there. But usually, after the first day of spring ball, Coach Saban will say something like, we're happy to be back out there. We're excited to be back hitting again. I know what you're going to ask me, but we're evaluating each positional group. So Saban will basically say the usual things we expect for him to say when you open spring ball.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just excited to be hearing from Saban about football. I think that's where, as a football fan, that's what we're excited to hear about and see about. And then also just to see the basketball team getting ready to start tournament play tomorrow. That's
Ohio State that broke my bracket, man. I'm already mad.
Man, don't even talk about that tonight, Steven. I done went and grabbed a drink and everything. I'm talking about everything else so far is 100% except Ohio State. Of all the people, and I say, y'all would do that to me because I'm a Bama fan and we did y'all like that in the national championship. But golly, man, come on. First round, y'all could have waited to the third round.
Beat by Oral Roberts.
Hey, now, I don't know if you remember 2013, Oral Roberts, was that 2012? Oral Roberts had a little sneaky team. They went to the Sweet 16, I believe.
They had a squad.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, I'm excited about this defensive back battle, man. We know for a fact we're going to have Malachi and Jordan and Job out there in their respective positions. My question is, I'm not even sure about Malachi. Do you think we're bumping Malachi to the outside and bringing maybe Branch into that nickel spot since that's who finished at that spot? Or do you think we open it up for the JUCO transfer from last year, Mr. What's his name, Kyrie Jackson, and then I've been hearing a lot of good news about JaQuincy McQuinch, Mr. Kool-Aid too. So what's your insight on that, brother?
This is going to be the toughest thing to gauge because, like I mentioned, Senator, Saban's brought in so much talent in the secondary, you almost forget all the guys Saban has truly brought in. And there's so much back there now. I would not mind seeing Malachi as an outside corner, but at the same time, he's done so much good at nickel. Do you really want to move him from that spot? So it's going to be interesting to see how Saban goes about gauging this. We appreciate that call that's coming from our own Senator Hines. I mean, it's a good problem to have. It's a great problem to have, though. You got a lot of guys all over the field. You got talent all over the field. Whoever shows you, and you being Coach Saban, that they are ready to take on ownership of that secondary, that's who you go with. But a lot of great talent to have there on the field. Quick topic here before we take our break right now. The freshmen, the early enrollees, the freshmen, have their jersey numbers for the Crimson Tide to start off spring ball. And the numbers here on screen. JaQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry, the defensive back, he will rock number 1. Ja'Cory Brooks at wide receiver will don number 7. Christian Leary at wide receiver will wear number 12. So he's got a quarterback number here. The likes of Joe Namath, Ken Stabler, and Greg McElroy have worn that number. Jalen Milroe at quarterback will don number 15. Asia Hall at wide receiver will wear 17. Keanu Colt at linebacker, outside linebacker, will wear number 19. Deontay Lawson at linebacker will wear 32. Got to redeem that number. Dylan Moses was decent, but could have done more. Deontay Lawson got to raise that number back up to its rightful spot there. Ian Jackson at linebacker will wear 36. Robbie Oots at tight end will rock 45. James Brockermeyer on the offensive line will rock 58. Now, he got Christian Barmore old number, so James Brockermeyer, he got to make it do what it do, rocking 58. J.C. Latham will have 65 on the offensive line. We'll have Deontay Brown's old number. Terrence Ferguson II on the offensive line will wear number 69. He's got Landon Dickerson's old number. So Ferguson, Fergie Ferg, gotta do your thing, son. Tommy Brockermeyer will wear number 76 on the offensive line. Caden Clark at tight end will wear number 87. And Monkel Goodwin on the defensive line will wear number 95. So the freshmen have their numbers. The early enrollees for spring ball have their numbers. We take a break right now, but upon our return, we will sit down with former Alabama safety Ali Sharrief to talk Bama football right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
And we are back in from the break on the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we go over right now to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up a heavy hitter, folks. Folks, I tell you that I'm bringing the guests on the show. I'm bringing the former players. We got a heavy hitter on the show, on the better safeties to come from Alabama in quite some time. Played under Mike Shula and Nick Saban. He played from 2005 to 09. A big reason behind that 09 SEC and national championship team. I got the man Ali Sharrief in the building. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
Doing well, doing fantastic. We got Ali Sharrief, former Bama safety, on the show. Played from 2005 to 09, big part of that 09 BCS national championship team. So, Ali, when you look at this, spring football is back. It started up today. And just discussing Coach Saban and you playing under him, what were some of the biggest things, the biggest key points, the biggest aspects that he drove home to you guys during your playing days at Alabama in spring football? What would be the biggest takeaways that Coach Saban tried to hammer in with you guys when you stepped on the field for spring football?
I think some of the biggest things that he did hammer home when it came to spring football is we had to be very attention to detail. We had to make sure that we played fast, and I think that's some of the things that these young guys, especially these young new guys that are coming in, they're going to have to get used to, and they got to learn that playbook. Once they start learning the playbook a little bit, and most of the time spring practice playbooks are real simplified to help the young guys and the older guys too to actually play fast, get the calls, get their checks down the way that they need to get them done.
Got Ali Sharrief here on the show, former Bama safety, played from 2005 to 09. If you're just tuning into the channel on today, In My Own Words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. So, Ali, when you go to now the Alabama defense here for just a moment, you played on defense, you played in the secondary, and you kind of have your own thoughts when it comes to defensive coordinator Pete Golding, who enters his fourth year in the program, his third year calling defense. It's his first year. He had the injuries with different players, whether it was Dylan Moses or Joshua McMillan, so people kind of gave him a pass for the injuries that he had to deal with. And then last year, Dylan Moses was back, but not back mentally, had some struggles there on the field despite putting up some, decent numbers there. But as he goes into his third year as the defensive coordinator, where does Pete Golding need to improve in your mind? Where does he need to show that he has gotten not only the confidence to run this defense, but the guys around him see that he has the confidence to run this defense? Where do you want to see Pete Golding improve the most on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, I think me personally, and this is just off my head what I'm thinking. Back when we had Georgia's Coach Kirby Smart, when Pruitt was there, when you seen those guys, they're very, very decisive about what they picked and how they ran it, how they wanted to do certain things. They were okay with getting cussed out by Coach Saban. That was not an issue, and they would sometimes give it back a little bit. But with him, I don't mean no disrespect. He's still a young guy. I think he just needs to be more decisive on some of his play calling. Say like our defensive line, we're young at defensive line. And again, I'm not a coach, but me personally, to mask that young defensive line, I think, we should probably blitz a little bit more. I mean, we got the speed, and no matter how many stars these kids got on their back, we still got a young defensive line going against, guys that's been there for a while when it comes down to these other teams. If we blitz and we mask that a little bit, and when we did blitz more toward the end of the year, you seen we started hitting home a lot more. We started making a lot more plays, and that's a tall ask to get our DBs to cover for a long period of time. So I just think he just needs to be a little bit more decisive on some of the play calls that he has. But I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to do great. He's learning just like everybody else is learning there.
As we move now toward the defensive secondary here, Ali, which that's the spot that you played right there. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, the defensive back room, that's going to be a huge positional battle on the field this spring just due to Saban has recruited so much in the secondary since 2016, 2017 that sometimes you kind of lose track of or lose sight of how many guys are actually on the roster that play in the secondary. Now, I remember talking to you before getting on the show, and you mentioned how excited you are about Jordan Battle at safety, but how excited you are also about the growth of Malachi Moore and how he can build on what he did as a freshman to year two as a sophomore. What makes you excited about Battle and Moore in terms of what they do on the field?
Jordan Battle, for instance, for me, I think he's a very, very big and physical kid, and he's fast. Like you don't see a guy like that all the time. He kind of puts you in the mind of, and the way that he lays that lumber, he puts you in the mind of a what's my guy's name from Miami? He went to Washington. I forgot his name. Sean Porter, not Sean Porter. I forgot his name, but he was a safety as well. But
Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor, that's right. He lays that lumber, man. He plays fast. He plays very fast and very, very physical. And with Malachi Moore, he reminds me a lot of Rashad Johnson when it comes down to being extremely instinctive and very smart. He just picks up on plays very fast, and he listens. He can look at something and he gets it. He just gets it. And I remember when we were there, Rashad Johnson, man, he got it. He just got it, and he was able to play fast, and he actually helped out the rest of the secondary. He was our leader when he was there. he was that guy that was just like, okay, Ali, you need to do this. This is what you need to do. Like, and he was also my roommate when we went to travel and everything like that. And I always would listen to him, pick his brain and everything. He was very punctual as well. So like when it's time to go to bed, it's time to go to bed. Like he was in there. So he was very dedicated to his craft and to the game. And I don't really know Malachi Moore, but I can see that in him, that type of player when it comes down to being an extremely smart player.
Now, that's a quick one here on our end, as we got Ali Sharif here on the show, former Bama safety, played from 2005 to 09, big part of that 09 national championship team. Ali, anybody in particular offensively on that side of the ball that you're going to be having your eyes on in the spring? Anybody on offense that's catching your attention?
I want to see what's going on with the quarterback positions, and I definitely want to see. I want to see what our wide receivers are going to be doing. Like I want to see who's going to step up, who's going to lead that pack at the wide receiver position. Because every time we've had a guy that was actually the leader of the pack when it comes down to the wide receiver, they did it their own way. From the Julios to the Amari Coopers to the Ridley, and then this past season we had Devonta Smith, and you honestly can see all those different guys and the way that they did certain things, and they did those things very well. So I feel like our next big wide receiver has to realize, okay, this is who I am. I can't take away who I am, and I'm gonna be true to who I am, and just and push that on themselves and do what they need to do to separate themselves from the pack, basically.
He is Ali Sharif, ladies and gentlemen, former Alabama safety, played from 2005 to 09, joining us here on the show on a Friday. Ali, appreciate you coming on, man, sharing some good things with us. You stay safe, take care of yourself, man. Be good.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ali Sharif there joining us on the phone lines talking spring football and the Crimson Tide. And absolutely, I mean, at wide receiver, who takes that leadership role and makes it their own? I mean, John Mechie's looking like he's the guy. He's looking like he's trying to be that number one wide receiver in the upcoming season starting this spring to take that mantle, but make it his own. But then behind him, you've got an Xavier Williams, you've got a Slade Bolden, Christian Leary as a freshman that's tearing some things up. So far, we're in the offseason program that he did. You got Asia Hall, Ja'Cory Brooks, a lot of receivers. So looking forward to seeing the ones that take on that mantle of being game breakers, game changers on the field. We take our break right now. Continue to like the show, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on so that we can continue giving you the Bama news. Upon our return, we will go back to your phone calls, your thoughts, your chats, your interactions. We talk to you, the Bama Nation, after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
Back in here, folks, on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. Number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. The Crimson Tide started up spring ball. Spring practice kicked off on today, and the basis of this show, just talking about those positional battles in spring ball. Had a chance to speak with one Ali Sharif in the latest segment there. Great interview with him, touching on the Alabama defense, Pete Golding, spring ball, and things of that nature. But before we take your calls, here's we back. And from the break to the call segment, got to remind you of mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag, latest sponsor to TDA. So if you're feeling lucky, you feeling fortunate, you feel like you got the swagger, the savvy, the skills to pay the bills where wagering on these football games are concerned, you check out our guys at mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. You make the right play, sign up today, and when you do, you use the promo code TDAlabama to get that deposit matched halfway, all the way up to $1,000. You can't beat it. You can't. Don't you make me say it one more time. You can't beat it. You go to mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. Use the promo code TDAlabama to get your win on today. Appreciate you guys as the fans out there for helping us achieve that daily super chat goal of $75 daily super chat goal. You guys have been tremendous, and we actually have Mechanic dropping in that $20 donation. Appreciate that love there coming from Mechanic, continuing the love there in the TDA hat. But as you guys are getting your thoughts together, 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Got to talk about one, Devonta Smith right now. He has signed with Clutch Sports Agency. Devonta Smith making big moves off the field, signing with Clutch Sports Agency, the company owned by Rich Paul, who became the founder, owner of the company, started the company in 2012. Of course, LeBron James has big stakes in the company as well, as Rich Paul and James have been close friends since 2003 when James entered the NBA draft coming out of high school, St. Vincent St. Mary's. And at one point in time, Clutch Sports was actually big in basketball, representing the likes of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, Eric Bledsoe, the big stars on the hardwood. But last year, it started to venture off into football and grabbing some guys in the gridiron game. It signed Chase Young out of Ohio State. It also signed Jeffrey Okudah from the Buckeyes as well. But Devonta Smith, this is the first big major signing in terms of a Heisman Trophy winner, and Smith made it known on the Club Shay Shay podcast that's done by Shannon Sharp there. He talked about how signing with Clutch Sports, this was big for him in terms of they are looking to, he wanted to sign with a brand that was not going to just promote Smitty, the football star, but Devonta Smith, the person. He comes from small town in Amite, Louisiana. He loves giving back to the community. He loves giving back to his family. He loves giving back to the people that have poured into him. As you saw when Smitty accepted the Heisman Trophy back in January, when he accepted the Heisman Trophy there, he had the whole community, he had the whole area of Amite, Louisiana on TV. The guys were gathered together. The community was gathered in YMCA and one of the community buildings there. They were there watching Smitty win the Heisman, take the Heisman home. He's always been big on his community. But we take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on tonight?
Hey, Steven, how you doing, man?
Doing fantastic, and yourself?
Not too great, man. I'm probably one of the only Buckeye fans that are watching. We just got knocked out of the tournament, and
I know it hurts. And I had Ohio State beating Oral Roberts. It hurts.
Yeah, well, I think I might be breaking open about two 6-packs tonight. Kind of drown it out,
man.
But I decided I'd call in and
I'm saying this, don't go overboard with it. I know the frustration. I feel the frustration. Just don't go overboard with it, my man.
That's too late. But anyway, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about my Buckeyes in football. I kind of feel like we're going to be much better matched up to take you guys next year. I'm not really sold on either one of your quarterbacks. Bryce Young, I saw him. Looks like he's about 5'8". Not really feeling him. The other guy, Paul Bryant, that you got behind him, I don't really think he's going to be much of anything. So defense was okay, but I think it's all about the Buckeyes, baby.
I'm gonna say this: y'all better have a quarterback to pick up where Justin Fields left off. Y'all better have a quarterback to pick up where Justin Fields left off, because even when Justin Fields was out there, if not for Trey Sermon, y'all don't beat Northwestern. If not for a 300-yard performance from Trey Sermon, Northwestern had y'all, should have won the game. Indiana should have beat y'all. The Indiana Hoosiers should have beat y'all. And Indiana came from behind and almost won that game. They lost by 7, but they should have won that football game. But, I mean, Bama's got the defense. Bama's going to hit on the quarterback. I hate Ohio State. Lost to Oral Roberts. I had them pegged there to win in that first round. It is what it is. We appreciate that call right there. We even got the Buckeyes calling in. But
hey, hold on, man.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm a visitor. I mean, come on. But you realize we had like 6 games. I mean, imagine we would have played 10 or 11. I mean, we would have been a lot more prepared to play you guys. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, you guys are good, but, I feel like we would have just had more time. I mean, but anyway, that's last year. I believe that in 2021, guys, like I said, Buckeye Nation, OHIO, baby.
Appreciate that call right there. You've got Ohio State calling into the show. We take our next call of the evening. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Steven, I had to call back in, bro. This Ohio State fan called in, going overtime, trying to hold up the line and stuff. Get your butt on. Y'all boys can't pull through at no big games in football season. Y'all can't pull through at no big games in the March Madness for you, boy. Ohio State, y'all ain't even back to the drawing board. Y'all before the drawing board. Y'all on the drawing piece of paper that you get handed at the end of class with your F on it. And you start drawing on it, trying to cover it up because you don't want to take it home to your mama. That's where Ohio State at. Y'all got a wide receiver, and that's it. Don't come in here talking Ohio State football. This is an Alabama football talk show. Don't come in here talking Ohio State. I'm gone, Steven. I'm listening to the show. God bless you, brother.
We got Senator's reaction there from the Ohio State fan. I mean, I welcome all callers. I welcome all callers into the show. I mean, you got a point. You got a point you want to prove, a point you want to get across. I welcome that. Like, once again, I had Ohio State to beat Oral Roberts tonight. It didn't happen. But for the Buckeyes in football, the hope is they better have a quarterback behind Justin Fields. They better have a quarterback behind Justin Fields. Because, I mean, when you get beat 52-24 in the national championship game, and could have gotten beat worse than that, if not for a Mac Jones fumble, that game could have been even more of a blowout. But that's besides the point. I mean, Devonta Smith made Shaun Wade go from a first-round pick to bagging up aluminum cans. I mean, he made Shaun Wade go from being a first to second-round pick to Shaun Wade is somewhere out here in Birmingham bagging aluminum cans and trying to get some scrap money going here. That's how bad Smitty made Shaun Wade look out there in the defensive secondary for the Buckeyes. But to end the point here on Smitty, proud of him, signs of Clutch Sports, joins LeBron James's brand, wants to be not just a football player, but also wants to show that he is big on his community and giving back to the people in that community. So I wish the best there for one Devonta Smith. Guys, shout out Senator Hines, that $25 donation to the Super Chats. Appreciate Senator for the love right there. Appreciate the Ohio State fan calling in. We take our next break right now. Continue to like the show, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on as well as we're giving you Bama football. Upon our return, who helps out Jaleel Billingsley at tight end? We're going to break down that positional group as spring ball in full swing. We talk tight ends after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
As we're back in from the break on the hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Bama football news, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into the final topic of conversation, got an update here coming from spring ball. Coach Saban's press conference. This update comes from our own Patrick Dow, writer and reporter for TDA. So in the Saban press conference, Coach talked about there are quite a couple of players that will not do a lot of things. They'll be limited here in spring ball due to some injuries, some nicks, and some bruises that they suffered coming off of the 2020 campaign. So of the guys that will be limited in spring ball, according to Coach Saban, that list includes wide receiver John Mechie, defensive back Malachi Moore, defensive lineman Fadarian Mathis, offensive lineman Pierce Quick, and offensive lineman Emil Ekiyor Jr. Those individuals will be limited throughout spring practice just due to some nicks, some bumps, some bruises, some injuries they're coming off of the 2020 season with. Those players, once again, John Mechie, Malachi Moore, Fadarian Mathis, Pierce Quick, and Emil Ekiyor. That update coming from the Nick Saban press conference. Now, also, according to Coach Saban, he did note this, that these five guys being limited in spring ball, it will not affect their playing time. It will not affect their exploits on the field, just due to this will allow some of the younger players to get in, to get their feet wet, to learn the system, to get acclimated into the Alabama football system, whether it's on the offensive side or the defensive side of the ball. So this gives some of the younger guys a little bit more timing, a little bit more of a chance to show what they can do, what they can provide, and prove to the coaching staff their talents, their skill sets on the field. But that's just an update here from spring ball coming from the Coach Saban press conference. That update was provided by our own Patrick Dowd of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. A few names that are limited here in spring ball: John Mechie, Malachi Moore, Fadarian Mathis, Emil Ekiyor Jr., and one Pierce Quick. So hopefully those guys continue to recover strong and be able to help out in any way they can from a leadership aspect this spring, as they're going to be limited here on the field. But before we get to the final topic, and I'll also remind you of tdaware.com. That is tdaware.com. So for all of you Tide fans still overjoyed by the national championship won here by your football program, the University of Alabama, you got to check out our championship collection merch. So you go and you grab you 18 of them things, folks, t-shirt, hoodie, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs which feature all 18 championship years on the back of those shirts. You go on over to tdaware.com. That is tdaware.com. You go over Championship Collections merch tab. You get you that merch. You copy those shirts today, showing that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But now we dive into a continuation of breaking down, providing analysis of positional units, positional groups in spring ball, and we have made it to the tight end position on offense. Tight ends. Look at the tight ends here for the Crimson Tide, and it's been here recently that Alabama is starting to get that position more so involved in the passing game. For a while, that spot under Nick Saban was just, blocking tight ends. You had guys like Nick Walker, like Travis McCall. You've had, other players like, Brian Vogler was more of a blocking tight end. Michael Williams started off as a blocking tight end, but he became more of a pass-catching weapon down through the latter portion of his career tenure here at the program. But while they started off having blocking tight ends in Alabama, here recently, Bama has gotten more of those physical, pass-catching, athletic guys when you discuss the Brad Smellies of the world, when you discuss the Preston Dowds, the Colin Peaks, the O.J. Howards, the Irv Smith. So down throughout the years, we've started to get more of the athletic, route-running, pass-catching, red zone targets at the tight end position. And this past year, we saw this with Jaleel Billingsley. Jaleel is going to have a monster year at that spot. Billingsley from Chicago this past season had 18 catches for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the last 7 games, from the Kentucky game to the Ohio State matchup in the national championship, this is where Steve Sarkisian really featured Jaleel in the passing game. 17 of his 18 receptions came in the last 7 games for 274 yards. His 3 touchdown receptions came in matchups against Auburn, of course, against Auburn, against LSU, and against Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl matchup, the college football playoff semifinal. So we know what Jaleel is capable of, and having Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator and what he has done with the tight end position, whether that was at Penn State or whether it was at the New England Patriots or the New England Patriots or the Houston Texans, we have seen what O'Brien has done with the tight end rooms there, and him working with Jaleel Billingsley. That's going to be fun to watch. But after him, the question becomes, who steps up next in that tight end room? Alabama graduating Miller Forrestall and Carl Tucker to the NFL draft coming up here in April. So who steps up behind Jaleel Billingsley? Who becomes the number 2 guy? And Bama's got some guys that can step up and take on that role. Number 1, you got Cameron Latou, he's just a couple of years removed from being an outside linebacker. He is now a tight end. I remember last year, especially in the fall camp cycle, he was really coming on strong at that position, not only as a blocker, but as a pass catcher, as an explosive playmaker. Didn't have a chance to really show all of that skill set this past season, but now another opportunity for one Cam Latou to show what he can do and what he can bring to the table. I know when he came out of high school, out of Utah, he was recruited to be an outside linebacker, but all of his footage, all of Latou's film came from the tight end position, and him being at 6'5", looking forward to seeing what he brings onto the field at that spot. So after Cam Latu, then therein lies Major Tennyson, who's been at the program since the 2017 signing class. He's got size, he's got some ability, but can he finally sort of break through? He's kind of been looked at as more of a blocking tight end. He's got the ability to be a really good pass catcher, but can he finally press through and get on the field? That's the question there for Tennyson. Behind him, you got Robbie Oots, the freshman from South Carolina. Our own Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, spent a lot of time breaking down this young man's tape. And after I was able to watch it myself, he's got a lot of ability. He's not only a blocker, but he can catch, he can run some routes, he can make some plays. And here's a guy that's got a chance as an early enrollee to kind of make some noise, to kind of create some waves, to kind of make some headway. So keep your eyes there on one Robbie Oots, rocking number 45 as his jersey number, along with the other freshman enrollees came out today. So Robbie Oots, a tight end to keep your eyes on. And then last but not least, Caden Clark. And Clark was originally supposed to come in with the 2020 class. Unfortunately, he had to gray shirt, so he ends up coming with the 2021 kids, these guys in here right now. Caden Clark, another one of those sort of blocking tight ends that does have the ability, the potential to be a pass catcher, but remains to be seen. So the biggest question is, who steps up from among the field and helps out with Jaleel Billingsley at that spot? Because going back to Bill O'Brien, when he was with the New England Patriots, we saw what he was able to produce in that double tight end set with Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez going back to the 2011 season. O'Brien's lone year as the offensive coordinator with the Patriots. So tight end position. Jaleel, we expect big things from Billingsley. We expect big production. Former players like Hale Henches. I was able to talk to Hale Henches a while back, and he compared Billingsley to one Irv Smith. We've had Mike McCoy on the show, former Alabama wide receiver, comparing Billingsley not only to Kyle Pitts, who played at Florida this past season, but also Evan Ingram, who had major success at that spot with Ole Miss. So Billingsley is expected to have a big season, but who can step up behind him? Who can emerge behind him to create some productive depth there at the tight end spot? Going to be fun to watch that position grow as we kicking up here with spring football. But folks, as always, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage here on your favorite program, the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you here, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, TuneIn Radio, or iHeartRadio. Got you locked and loaded right there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday continuing the conversation that is Bama football. As always, Tide Nation, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be in the description. If you're trying to cop the print edition of the magazine, the print magazine that's coming soon, you can do this by going to touchdownalabama.com, clicking join, becoming a member, become a subscriber today. Go to touchdownalabama.com, click join, become a subscriber, so that way you can copy that print edition, that print issue of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Also, you can check out the four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry from our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, the weekend is in. Do the right thing, the smart thing, the legitimate thing to not be bored. You get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Enjoy Alabama men's basketball. It opens up the NCAA tournament in the round of 64 tomorrow. Taking on 15 seed Iona. Enjoy that game. Until next time, folks, it's been in my own words.